of all of the coordinator interviews that are up on warchant.com, go there, find them.
Assistant coaches.
Yeah, that's right. Who did you like the most?
They were all pretty likable. Corey and I were talking about that a little bit earlier, that they really were all likable. I think from a quote standpoint, I think Herb Hand is going to be very informative. He likes to talk about offensive line play.
Man, I like to hear it. Yeah. I love that sort of thing.
Every question he got asked, he was basically like,
it was a soliloquy.
Yeah, I could spend about 30 minutes talking about this topic. So yeah, he's all about the offensive line and has some just funny comments. Seems like a really likable guy. Terrance Knighton, the defensive line coach, obviously is got funny towards the end when Aslan asked him if he wanted to go to the Aslan asked, I don't know if you've seen it, but Aslan asked him if he'd rather take a trip to the moon or go back in time to the 95 Source Awards. He's always tweeting
about Suge Knight,
which was pretty funny.
And it was clear what his answer was, that it was the 1995 Source Award.
I was hoping he would have said, like, Mike Norvell's not dancing in my videos. That's why I'm here.
That would have been funny.
Right.
That would have been good.
Especially thinking now about the producer he was talking about at the time and his current legal troubles. It's death row one somehow. Suge Knight looks like the better guy out of those two. And yeah, he also, this will get play. He said he didn't know if the moon was a conspiracy. He said the moon, like, is the moon real? He had to admit the moon
landing on the moon.
Landing on the moon. That's what he was talking about. But the quote is, I think it's like, I don't know if the moon is real. And I'm like, okay, we don't want that. We know the moon is real. It's up there. We
100% it's real. Yeah.
That was explaining why he would go to the Source Awards. And, but anyway, and then all of them, Tim Harris Jr., I thought was interesting. He's actually, for a guy that's not old. I mean, he's a younger. I think he's 37 or so. I think.
God, guys, that makes us.
I know,
toughie.
But he comes across as very mature. He's been in a lot of different programs, and then obviously, Evan Cooper, the safeties coach, had a lot of interesting things to say. No, real good group, and all those videos are on Warchant's YouTube page. You should go watch them.
Love when coordinators want to talk about their area of expertise.
Does he just call coaches coordinators now?
They're all coordinators.
Yeah, they're the same.
They're coordinating the receivers.
Coaches, coordinate your receivers, coordinate your defensive backs, coordinate your defensive line. Everybody's got to know what the other's doing.
Tim Harris is the pass game coordinator.
That's right.
True.
Herb Hand might be the run game coordinator.
Yeah, there you go. And Knighton is the defensive line coordinator.
The death row coordinator.
All right, I'll give you a defensive line coach. I'll give you that.
All right.
But outside of that, what I do like it when coaches want to talk about their area of expertise. It further enlightens us as to why something's working or not working. And you know what? You can find an awful lot of that stuff from him online, which is really cool already. I deep dived when they were looking at hiring him.
You know what I like when it came to Herb Hand, especially, but all of them. He's talking about blocking, and I brought this up before, but they were blocking for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he
was on a team in a locker room with Saquon Barkley opening up holes for him. And it's like, get some of that around your program. Obviously, you don't have a Saquon, but a guy that has been around great, a guy that has coached some great and been around great. And as you said, worked with Rich Rod at West Virginia when they put up a ton of points. Obviously, they put up a ton of points at Tulsa, worked at Texas, Penn State, Auburn. That I just like that he's part of this program because he's used to excellence.
And even when he was at Vanderbilt, it was James Franklin. They had a good run there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
They had a real good run there, and that's what got James Franklin noticed before he went to Penn State. Well, that and some off-the-field problems. But those are the things.
But I don't think he's had a 2-10 season, and I guarantee he hasn't had a season where they were last in the country in touchdowns. You know what I mean? You need infusing some of that. You need some of that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that criteria, though, because you keep going back to that. But it's like, Norvell never had either until it happened. So, it's not like he was steady putting up 2
his O-line coach / OC was a guy he got from Charlotte. This is a guy that coached with Saquon, coached at Texas, coached at Penn State, coached at Auburn, and then just had the number 6 rushing attack in the country in a Big 12 at a Big 12 school. That gets me excited, man. And same with Knighton. Like Knighton, what that Nebraska defensive front plays like and does, that's exciting.
It was also cool. Knighton also referred to Tony White, the new defensive coordinator, as an evil scientist, and he talked about the crazy things going on in his head.
Did he say evil and not mad?
Evil.
Okay, he needs to change that, make it mad.
Look, man, it was the first day. It was first day.
And he's also evil to offenses.
Yeah, there you
The
go.
offensive coordinators view him as evil.
Also, if you're a former linebacker, as Coach White is, and you want to be evil in the schemes that you put together,
Evil's fine.
exploit,
You're fine
right.
with evil.
You're right.
embrace the hell out of some evil.
You're right.
Let's
You're right.
go.
That's my bad.
Who doesn't
It's
want evil?
Too many
We were
nice
the
guys out here.
Softest ass team in America
Yeah,
last
true.
year. Let's get some evil up in
Right.
here, man. Good God. I don't want people to be borderline like, hey, I'm worried.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem legal. Some of the things they're doing are downright scary. Yes, yeah. Let's have those conversations.
Just see what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what? You'd rather say "whoa" than "giddy up" when it comes to that.
You should coin that.
I've coined so much already.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave it
The
to other
iron
people.
sharpens iron, but I think this would be the next great one, buddy.
On that line, though, there were some other notes that were interesting on that same theme about physicality and toughness. Tim Harris Jr., the new receivers coach, talking about the perimeter blocking and how important that is. I mean, you could tell, man, that is like he feels like that's job number one. And he made the good point to Corey's question, or I think it was Corey's question about, or no, it was Aslan asked him about being the perception of a run offense with Gus Malzahn attracting receivers. And he's like, look, man, receivers should want a good running game because that gets you one-on-ones.
It also leads to a lot of yards per catch.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was good about that. And then also Herb Hand talking about offensive linemen. He was talking about you like guys with quick feet, but you like heavy hands. And he said something about striking people with he goes, well, we like to think it's a positive thing. The guy you're hitting probably doesn't feel like it's a positive thing. It was pretty funny.
But striking with heavy hands, hard.
Yeah.
Always.
A lot of physicality talk.
A lot of physicality talk, man. Even the receiver coach had a lot of talk about physicality because his point is, look, we're going to run the ball. They run the ball. UCF ran the ball anytime Malzahn's going to run the ball. And for you to get on the field, you have to be able to block on the perimeter. You have to push people out of the way.
To me, when you hear the consistency of message from every assistant coach and coordinator,
yes,
and coordinator that has been hired,
are we getting bombarded with texts, the three of us or something? I don't get. You guys are looking at your phone and I don't.
And
nobody
notice that
texts me.
Nobody's missing a beat. Here.
Multitasking.
I know.
Multitasking.
But I was like, okay, something big must be going on, and
there's
nobody
no
texted me, of
breaking
course.
news or
All right,
anything like
okay.
that. I'm just making sure that we're where we need to be and
Okay.
everybody's good to
All
go and all that kind of good stuff. But that through line of message that they're going to be tough, that they're going to be physical. Yeah, man. They have to be because, again, that was a soft group a year ago. And B, I'm sure that's what they gleaned both from watching the film of Florida State as they try to analyze what they have in each segment group. So you're going to start day one like, guys, that ain't going to
What is this? What is this?
work. But also, Mike Norvell knew that team was soft. Mike Norvell knew that they were pathetic at blocking out on the edges. Said it in press conferences. So I'm not putting words in his mouth. He knew that was unacceptable. 2 and 10 is unacceptable, sure, but how you get to 2 and 10 is by being weak as hell. And they were across the board with few exceptions. And so I'm sure Mike has had this conversation as well. It's a combination of what they see when they're viewing their segment group that they're going to be coaching, what Mike has said while talking to them and interviewing them. They know the deal here is that Florida State has got to be tougher. Has to be much tougher. That was the thing that disgusted me most as a fan. I think the A, lack of effort in some games, and B, just soft as all hell, turning things down in the run game, turning things down when you come up to tackle, turning things down when you have an opportunity to punish somebody. I want guys, honestly, that are borderline. I want linebackers that are a little crazy that I have to say, hey, man, you can't kind of the helmet under the chin. I see what you were doing there, but can't do it. I want that. That's how you play the game.
So if you're Knighton or any of these guys, any of these new assistant coaches, there's 6 in total new coaches. And, they talked about, they've all really talked about not wanting to live in the past. They do have to go look back and evaluate things.
Yeah.
But as they're watching film and they're going back on their own time, do you think like they're bookmarking different clips and going back and sitting down with guys and like,
my hope.
What is this? What
you're running alongside him for about 25 yards here. What do you think that was?
Do you think is that how you start the relationship, or do you wait till like February to bring that up?
Oh, I bring it up right away because I
depends on if you want him in the portal or not.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't need you.
Yeah, that's why you go ahead and go to compliance.
No, I think you got to set the tone early and let them know what's going to change. And I would think, and it's going to be fascinating for us to be able to get to look at it in spring. Man, the practices have got to be tougher. They've got to be tougher in general. You need to see evidence of it right away. Sounds like the way these coaches want to coach and teach their players to play, they're going to demand themselves that things be much more ratcheted up and difficult physically in practice. They would have to be.
I would hope, but they can't. There aren't many defenses in the country that are more physical than Nebraska's, right? Like I didn't watch them every game, but I watched them enough to know, golly, that looks different. And then obviously, like we've talked about, UCF is always one of the top 10 rushing offenses in the country, even in the Big 12 when they moved to the Big 12. So that just screams physicality. It's got to be different. It can't be soft ass nonsense like it was last year.
But that'll be fascinating to watch how practice changes, because you know, you would assume that
it's not just the weight room. Right. It's not like just go get stronger.
No, it's definitely not. No, that matters. You got to be strong. Everybody knows that. No, how you practice. You're right, Ira, because that would be another concession from the head coach.
Yeah, or at least they have to find some common ground, because
you think Malzahn's like the first practice script he goes, wait, we're spending 40 minutes on kick return and kickoff coverage. Don't we have a kicker that can kick it through the goalpost?
He's gone.
No, the other one, the backup. The backup has a stronger leg than the Groza finalist. Like, we don't need. Let's just do. How about just 2 periods, Mike, of special teams, and the rest we can work on this offense.